Dorian, Thompson, Robinson. Glass, you have him 7th. John, you have him 8th. I have him outside of my top 10. So, Glass, you can start us off. Why is he where he is for you?
I like the competition that they played against. B, it's not slippery rock, but still, it's up there. I think that Dorian Thompson Robinson is a quarterback who is ultimately dependent. He's one of those that is definitely dependent on who drafts him, right? And I think that if he gets in the right situation, he will be like the fantasy sleeper quarterback of the season. So he had last season he was 70%. His completion percentage was 70%, which was the highest of any of the ones that we're talking about, right? He had 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and he ran for 12 touchdowns. So this is someone who has the dual threat. He has the dual threat capability that you want in the modern day NFL. He is, as most of the guys that we're talking about, not well, except for Levis and Richardson, not particularly big. Like his frame is slight, so there's a worry there. But I like that he succeeded with the coach that he had at UCLA, who I really dislike, and that he succeeded at UCLA, and that I think the competition that you play against matters. And I think that if a quarterback is running for 12 touchdowns and he's also throwing for 27 touchdowns, that there is some merit to his ability to be NFL caliber if he's playing against serviceable competition, which Dorian did. Thompson Robinson did. I don't know him well enough to call him Dorian.
John?
Yeah, I agree with everything Gladys said. I also want to echo the sentiment that he basically improved as a passer every year at UCLA. He has been hyper athletic, has always been a good runner, and always a threat with his feet. But the question with those styles of players are, how do they evolve as a pocket passer? Yes, we get it. We can do design runs with you and you can beat a linebacker. That's fine. But what happens when we ask you to stand in the pocket and drive down the field? And this past year, he really improved on that, which 70% completion rate, throwing for over 3,000 yards. I mean, those are good benchmarks that you want to see out of someone who is notoriously a mobile threat, And so I think if he can get in the right hands, get behind a good offensive line, he can start to make these and keep the progression going where he's still, in the high 60s, low 70s completion percentage. And, things all tend to work out. I think the slight frame is concerning a little, but, I noticed more almost, but like Robert Griffin wasn't exactly the the most built guy in the world, and it worked for him. And so, that's what I kept looking at and kind of equating to and looking at and going, oh, well, Robert Griffin can make it work. So why can't this guy? Not everyone has to be Cam Newton. Not everyone has to be, Josh Allen. Like there can be, you can be 210 and still, make guys look silly and miss in the NFL. So I think it's, he's not going to put his shoulder down and run someone over like Cam did, but he can certainly spin around you like Robert Griffin did. So I like him a lot. I think he's a very, in fantasy communities and, super flex formats, if it's late second round or, and he's still kind of kicking, I'm totally psyched taking the upside chance on DTR. I'd love it.
Oh, DTR, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he could probably have been 10th for me. I had him 11th, so I could have swapped him for Bennett, honestly. But there's just a couple things I just didn't really like while watching him on film, honestly. I just felt like, yes, he was more accurate this year. It was good to see. But just overall, I feel like there were some accuracy issues still on some certain throws, especially when he started throwing a little bit more deep. I don't think he has that arm to really get the ball downfield consistently enough. Again, a lot of his progressions were more in that shotgun formation. And I don't know if he's going to be able to adjust to the NFL pro level offense there enough. Again, he's a slimmer built guy here. Kind of reminds me of like a Tyler Huntley individual. I just didn't see enough to make me like, wow, I think that he could sustainably be in an offense consistently enough. But I mean, he could probably have been in my top 10. He probably should have been in my top 10. He is getting a lot of looks at NFL teams as I'm doing my most recent article. So he's getting a lot of looks. So I probably have him lower than I should, but I just didn't care for his film. That's all. All right, let's go over to